There's never been any form of money that could not be diluted. I mean, even gold, which used to be the soundest form of money, the supply grows at 1.7% a year. Multiply that times 55 years, and you've doubled the amount of gold on the Earth's surface. Okay. So, but Bitcoin, there'll only be 21 million. So as a result of that, this is just, it's a once in humanity. It's a paradigm shift. I mean, I don't know how, Sailor says it's like fire with Prometheus. I don't know. It's like air flight. I mean, people couldn't fly, and then suddenly people could fly. Do you know what I mean? Or people rode horses, and then suddenly there were cars, and, top speed on a horse was maybe 15, 20 miles an hour for a few minutes. And, cars are going 150 miles an hour now. So, it's that kind of a shift. And I think that what people are missing, and I talk about this in the book too, all the crypto noise, sadly, it's just, I hate it. It's just, Dogecoin, SBF, all that crap is just so annoying and distracting because it's just total horseshit. And it detracts from the one pure signal technological innovation here that these guys figured out, or this person. I tend to think it's guys. I think Adam's one of them, by the way. but you probably do too. They created immutable digital scarcity. And guess what? At first glance, you say, oh, so what? Who cares? Well, when it comes to money, that's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. And, I don't know. Before Google existed, did anyone even know what the concept of a search engine was? The internet didn't exist. Google didn't exist. But now, it's part of everybody's daily life. Everybody uses it. Everybody needs to use it. It's a network, same idea. It's just, it's a new innovation that, is going to completely change the world. And, my advice to people is ignore it at your own peril. I've been interacting with some people on Twitter, people I respect, very smart investors, macro people. And they think it's a bubble. And I just say, guys, you're not looking at don't let the crypto noise distract you. Think about what this technology really is. And then ask yourself, okay, you're now aware of it. So you don't have an excuse. There'll be people who aren't aware of it today. When it's worth $1 million a coin, they'll say, oh shit, I didn't know about that. I'm really sorry I didn't. Okay, fine. But these are true, legitimate professional investors who are aware of it. And I said, how are you going to feel when it's $1 million a coin? Because it's going there. And then again, how are you going to feel when it's $10 million a coin? Because it's going there too, not over longer time frames. Because you're aware of it. And, it's amazing to me. I was down at the New Orleans Investment Conference. I met a guy named Jim Grant. Some of the older listeners will know who he is. He's written a number of great books. He's a monetary economist. He's really a brilliant, charming guy. And yet he really shat all over Bitcoin. He said, well, it'll be money. Give me 1,000 years of history, and then maybe I'll consider it money. And I said, Jim, when people were wandering around and trying to jump up in the air, and then somebody invented a machine that allowed them to fly, did you have to wait 1,000 years to believe that the flight made sense? It was kind of, and he kind of just scoffed at me. And I was just like, how can somebody who was supposed to be a monetary expert miss the biggest development in the monetary field in 1,000 years? Like the change from coins to ledgers or banks. It blew my mind. I went to Harvard Business School. I go down there, and there's a guy there who's going to go to work for Sailor, a really nice kid. But he runs the Bitcoin Club. He says, oh, there are about 10 members. And he says, most of my classmates think I'm absolutely, an idiot. And I'm like, this is Harvard Business School. This is the West Point of capitalism. I went there, okay? Yeah. And I've written to the dean. I'm like, you guys aren't thinking about this, talking about this, understanding this? It doesn't seem that hard to me, but I had an advantage in that I had a venture background. And so I invested in and watched the internet develop. So I've kind of seen this movie once before. And it's the same. And I, by the way, I kind of blew it a little bit in that movie. And I talk about this in the book. I looked at Amazon and Facebook and Google, and I was using traditional investment metrics, the kind of things they were taught to me at business school. I couldn't get there. I was like, how can you pay this much money for this business, especially in Amazon's case, wasn't making any money in the early days. I just, no, I'm not buying that. Right. But I didn't understand Metcalfe's law and how networks grow in value. And how, I mean, they grow they grow exponentially in value at a square of the underlying users that are added, and so and they're so defensible. I mean, there won't be another Google, right? It just won't, because everybody's there. Why would anyone change? And so, that's kind of what's going on here. And I mean, Google. I just checked it this morning because I was putting it in the book. Google's up like 9,000% since its IPO, right? Yeah, right. How many investments in the world, in the history of the world, have ever performed that well? Not many. Okay, on a broad scale. I mean, and so and I miss Google, right? I didn't invest in it because I thought it was too expensive. Okay, well, guess what? Here's another chance. It's the same model. In fact, arguably, it's even better than Google because it touches everything. And Google touches one specific commerce-related search information piece of the economy. Money touches damn near every piece of the economy. So it's bigger than Google. So I really do think that people are going to be shocked what happens here. And as we've all seen, I mean, some people, I mean, just the fact that it's over 100,000 has gotten a lot of people really salty because, they just can't get their heads around it. But I would just advise them to get rid of their ego and bend the knee and understand. I mean, look, I don't have a lot of love for Larry Fink because I think he's a kind of a creepy guy and a fiat master, but I'll give him credit. I mean, everyone knows who I'm talking about. He's the guy who runs BlackRock. He's $11 trillion largest asset manager in the United States. I'll give him credit. He looked at it, thought about it, studied it, obviously had some people teach him about it and said, you know what, this thing's going to work. I either got to get on board or I'm going to get left behind. And he got on board. And I think that thought pattern is going to have to literally occur all throughout the world over and over and over again. And, we're so early. I mean, we're still considered fringe. We're still considered psychopaths and all the other things. There's still a lot of negative FUD, but it's starting to shift. I mean, I remember the early days of the internet, and a lot of people thought it was just a joke. But in the, by 78, 79, I'm sorry, 90, 97, 98, you could see, the connections were getting faster. The Windows browser was there. It was point and click instead of green screen. And you could we're kind of at that stage. When the ETFs went through, that was a hugely positive event. Huge. I mean, I had a lot of people who actually orange pilled right after that because their objection prior to that had been, well, the government's going to just kill this thing. Yeah, you're right. I get it. Sound money. I'm all for that, but there's no way the government's going to let you do that. And but the ETF got approved, and really, now look, we may have a counter reformation. I mean, it's very favorable that the Trump administration is going to be positive for Bitcoin, but if in 4 years we have a blue wave, they may come back and try and 6102 us or do a lot of other things, which is why self custody and so forth is important. But to me, it's obvious. I mean, the dogs are eating the food, and there are more dogs coming every year, and and the food's going up in price, which is what dogs like, and so it's a positive feedback loop that I just can't see ending anytime soon.
Need liquidity without selling your Bitcoin? If you've been in BTC long enough, you've heard of the term HODL and the name Ledn. Ledn has been the go-to specialist in Bitcoin lending for over 6 years. They help clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to HODL while still accessing the wealth of your BTC. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. But don't take it from us. Check out Ledn's Trustpilot or their reviews on social media. And to learn more about what your Bitcoin could do for you, check out ledn.io today. Again, ledn.io.